A year after the US short seller Hindenburg Research accused the Adani Group of fraud and brazen stock price manipulation, the Indian tycoon Gautam Adani has emerged stronger. The Adani empire has rebounded, it has trimmed its debt, it has secured projects and also gained $93 billion in stock value. The company has new backers from US to the Middle East. It has bagged landmark projects. It is building a new airport for India's financial capital and redeveloping Mumbai's Dharavi slum. Much has got to do with the Supreme Court verdict that rejected appeals of a special investigation and restored its faith in India's stock market regulator SEBI, which gives a clean chit to the conglomerate. S&P Global has also upgraded its outlook on Adani Ports and Adani Electricity. The Adani Group of company is once again on an ascent. Adani's resilience comes from its strong infra empire. The port terminals, power lines, airports, data centers, solar parks and cement plants. So, now that Adani empire has been absolved of all wrongdoing by domestic and global regulators and brokerage firms, fingers point at Hindenburg Research. Why did it fudge the numbers to short sell Adani stocks? Is it then going to be issuing a public apology for misleading the markets? Why are questions not being raised on Hindenburg's credibility? Why is foreign media suddenly quiet on the subject? Why are there no pointed questions being raised against Hindenburg? Why are they not going into the source of this artificial disaster that was orchestrated by Hindenburg? Starting my conversation with Sharad Kohli, and quickly a response from you, Sharad, about the resilience that the Adani Group of companies has shown, that has helped in rebounding its stock value to a massive $95 billion.
Well, thank you, Megha. Well, I think it's been a blessing in disguise, if you ask me, for Adani Group, for the simple reason that, can you hear me, Megha?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
So, it has helped in cleansing the things, things which plagued the Adani Group, not in a bad way, but the debt to equity ratio, the debt to profit ratio, the overall debt leveraging, as we call it in economics and the world of finance, we call it as the debt leveraging. That was one of the accusations of Hindenburg, that it is an over-leveraged company and it's taken too far beyond what it should be, and the investors are in danger and so on and so forth. But I think the whole exercise has given Adani more strength. As you rightly said, Adani has been able to bag more contracts. Adani has been in the process been able to square up some of its debts. The shareholding structure looks more lean and streamlined now. It has bagged more contracts within India as well. I think the faith and the confidence of Adani's customers, institutional customers and other customers, I think that faith has been restored and Adani has come out clean. So when you come out clean and you've gone through kind of an Agni Pariksha, I call this as an Agni Pariksha for Adani. I think the Agni Pariksha has proved to be a boon for Adani, and I think that is why it has regained $93 billion, and with another $50–60 billion to go to get down to the earlier level, Megha. I feel that should not be a concern, because after all, we are talking of market capitalization. We are not talking of Adani's book value. We are not talking of Adani's PE ratio. We are talking of Adani's market capitalization. So market capitalization eventually for all companies stabilizes with the fundamentals in the long run. Whether Mr. Adani has become the richest person in Asia, the third richest in the world, I think doesn't really matter. What matters is that the main objective of Adani Group to build the country, to build the infrastructure, whether that purpose is still being met. And it's a great slap on the face of these people like George Soros, who run an agenda against India. I think it's a big slap on the face. Now, next time, another huge advantage of this whole exercise, Megha, is next time when another group or a similar group comes back and tries to hit at another corporate house in India or another agency or an institution in India, no one is going to believe them. This is crying wolf.
Yeah.
You know that bhediya aa gaya. Remember that story we did in our school? Nobody is going to believe them.
Yeah.
And what I strongly feel in what you said, that I think a defamation case should be filed against Hindenburg in the International Court of Justice and in United States of America. These people should be brought to books. Who were the people behind? How much money did they make? Who was funding them? What agenda were they running? What propaganda were they running? I think all these things should be brought on record. Adani, it is high time now, Adani Group, and to a certain extent, because Prime Minister was being maligned in the process. We all know this. I think Government of India must also separately, obviously not with Adani Group, must separately file a case in United States. If I was in that position, I would definitely have done after I've been acquitted by SEBI. I've been acquitted by the Supreme Court committee. I've been given a very favorable comment by the Supreme Court itself. I would have immediately done that. I think it's high time Adani should do, but probably Adani feels, let's carry on to do the good work. Let's not spend time
absolutely.
on negative.
Adani Group of companies, the legal team has come out and said that they are going to be filing a defamation case against Hindenburg Research, to which the Hindenburg Research head, Nate Anderson, has come out saying that we welcome the defamation case, but we stand by the report that we have filed on Adani Group of companies. But that's a separate matter. It's going to happen in the months to come, and we'll be closely following it. Jyota, quickly coming to you, and I was just quickly researching and taking a look at how the foreign media has been reacting in the last 1 year. And while up until July, August is when these castigating reports of Hindenburg came out in CNN, BBC, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, we talk about Guardian, we talk about Al Jazeera. Suddenly, there was lack of any reports, any articles talking about Hindenburg and its so-called fair analysis and that castigating report that it put out on the public platform. So do you think this is a conspiracy that is also being supported by the media organizations across the globe, and particularly the Western media organizations, who then work in a complicit manner for research groups, for these so-called journalists who are part of this Hindenburg Research organization, because their sole aim is to attack India and bring down India's image and malign it in whichever way possible, and look the other way when the opposite is brought forth.
Well, Megha, first of all, you see the attack on the Adani Group. Let's make not any mistake. It was actually a proxy in terms of the attack was actually on Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. And the thing is, you see, Adani Group, they used Adani Group as a tool, but the target throughout was the Prime Minister. But basically, the attempt was to drag his name into the controversy, then basically try to prove some kind of a quid pro quo and some kind of a misdeed and, bending the law, all sorts of things. Basically, that is what they were trying to do, and because of which they resorted to a lot of falsehoods. So, but ultimately the target was Mr. Modi. But the thing is, you see, they could not establish that link, but just while peddling the falsehoods also. And the Adani Group also stood strongly by what it was, and as it happens, they proved to be correct. The thing is, this has to be seen as a larger scheme, as what Greta Thunberg, remember, had talked about the toolkit. The toolkit that has to be employed against how to destroy India's image of a chai and yoga at the time of the farm laws. It was all part of that, and I'm afraid, and in fact it is known by now, that lots of entities from India were involved in this. In fact, it was perhaps not even a quote-unquote so-called investigation by Hindenburg, but the material, etc., was possibly provided, or not possibly, probably provided by people who do not like Mr. Modi, and they thought that, they will use Mr. Adani's empire to beat Mr. Modi with. So, that was the whole purpose. The whole purpose was to ensure a government change, basically muddy Mr. Modi's name through allegations of corruption at him, and it was all about that. But now that Adani Group has been getting a clean sheet after clean sheet from everywhere, what has happened is that all their attempts have fallen flat.
Yeah.
And what else do we expect this particular Hindenburg people to say, but we stand by our report? I mean, they don't have a face. And of course, they did made a lot of money by short selling and all.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. Sumit, quickly coming to you and getting your opinion with regards to the situation that has happened. You see S&P Global coming out and giving a very positive outlook to Adani Group of companies, and this has happened. It is very categorically said that this is after the Supreme Court report, this is after the markets regulator SEBI giving a clean sheet, absolving it of all the wrongdoings that were that it was accused of by Hindenburg Report. Like I said, there have been there was a $500 million that has been invested by a US company into the port deal that Adani is going to build, manufacture in Sri Lanka. There is a French company that has come together in a tie-up to build a solar plant with Adani Group of companies. Israel port deal that has already been signed. The Middle East at this point of time is opening up its coffers to build these investment deals with Adani Group of companies. So does this build the brand value and goodwill of Adani conglomerate across the globe, keeping in mind whichever continent you go to, people, companies, governments are giving a go-ahead, giving a thumbs up to working with Adanis?
Meghaji, thanks for having me on your show. You know what we say in Hindi, Satyamev Jayate, the truth always triumphs. That is the case. Well, you take the case of Mr. Adani. I have been maintaining from day one, it's a case of political extortion. Political extortion, that is exactly what it was used. They tried to use Adani to bring his fortunes down. Some people will buy the shares, they will make money. Secondly, they will link him to Prime Minister Modi. And by doing this, ek teer se kahi nishan hai. You bring the wealth of Adani ji down, you get Prime Minister Modi's image muddied, and you stop Adani ji from expanding India's strategic interests and infrastructure within India and out of India. So by these, and fourth agenda would be that, look, India, nothing in India is transparent. Ati is hanky-panky, nothing from India can be trusted. So there were a lot of people who thought, oh, they were at fragile 5, they cannot make it to top 5, or India is not an economy where you can invest money and where you can have transparency and where billion-dollar empires, multi-billion-dollar empires can be made. So those all things were happening, and Adani was used for that. Because he's a Gujarati and Prime Minister Modi is a Gujarati, so they conveniently built the relation. You know, and remember when the Adani ji invests in Rajasthan, no words talked. When Adani ji was seen with Robert Vadra, no questions asked. But his picture with Prime Minister Modi was the talk of the town. His investment in BJP ruled states was the talk of the town. So Adani ji was very clear and very good when he was investing in Rajasthan and he was seen with Robert Vadra ji. But he becomes a very corrupt person when he sees his Prime Minister Modi and when he invests in BJP ruled states. That was the tyranny what was being done, and this was all orchestrated. Everybody was getting together. And let me take your attention one day before G20. There was one more salvo fired by, the Hindenburg. Now, when the salvo was fired, Rahul Gandhi ji did a press conference. He said, now there's an international opinion about Adani. Will Prime Minister Modi come clear before G20? What was Mr. Gandhi trying to do? He was trying to cast aspersions on the Indian financial system. He's saying, oh, one Adani is the vice of God. He is the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. And whatever he has written is the words of Bible. The background of Adani, this Hindenburg, is that he was an ambulance driver. He has mostly 10 CFAs which work for him. But they are so brilliant. They are so brilliant that what ENY, KPMG and the top 4 or the big 4 cannot see, these guys can see. Is it wrong that Adani cannot do short selling in US? Is it banned? A lot of companies he cannot touch the stocks where he has cases pending with him with FBI. Now, if you look from Cambridge Analytica to Hindenburg, the case is same. You get a Firang name, you put a lot of weightage and you start firing political salvos. You cause a damage to the exchequer, you cause a damage to the Indian economy, you want to muddy the Prime Minister and then start the India's infrastructure push. Because we are the only country which has put $330 billion in infrastructure. So how do you stop? How do you stop us? Stop the people who can really get the job done for India. So this was all done. And let me remind you, Meghaji, when this fiasco is happening in Europe regarding the farmers' protest, where is Greta Thunberg? Doesn't she know where is Europe? Europe में ही रहती है ना.
Yeah.
Where is Mia Khalifa? And where is this Meena Harris? And where is my good, where I'm a great fan of, Rehana ji? ये Rehana नाम की बहन जी कहाँ गई? When there's a Kisan protest in India, they all are up. अरे क्या हुआ क्या हुआ? But when it happens in Europe, they are blocking the streets. They are putting things on fire. Yesterday they put, intestines of animals and blood on the main offices of France. This is what happened yesterday. But all of them are gaib ho gaye, lupt ho gaye. But anything happens in India, they will all jump, and we have to get out of this fiasco. Anything that the West is best. That has
all right.
Yeah.
So, Sharad, again, the same message that goes out, that while there is maligning of India and there is any kind of a hit job that happens, the media organizations, these activists spring up in large numbers and do all the damage to India on an international level, and it is unfortunate the kind of eyeballs they garner. Whether it is about these media organizations or these activists or these public influencers, public faces, celebrities, whatever said and done, we may ignore it, we may deny it, but it does hamper India's image. It did hamper Adani Group of companies' image and goodwill. It did put up questions on the Indian Supreme Court and the markets regulator and Indian government as well. So, can there be a counter that can be put by India that is going to be heard by countries across the globe, by organizations across the globe, by investors across the globe? So, I'm saying, while the stakeholders in the business world track these developments very closely, the larger conversation point amongst the masses continues to be that Adani Group of companies was accused of short selling, it was accused of fraud, it was accused of stock manipulation. Because after August or September, there are no reports whatsoever in all these media organizations, on all these digital platforms and publications about what happened in the Supreme Court, about what happened by the SEBI regulator, and even there are no questions. There is no question. There is a pin drop silence. No question about why has Nate Anderson and his group of journalists come up with this attack, what is the proof that they have gotten, what is the evidence that they have, and if this was a hit job, this was a witch hunt, who are the ones who benefited? There are no names whatsoever.
Well, I think it really doesn't matter, Megha, because, if they don't want to talk about all these clearances which Adani Group have got, it really doesn't matter. They have to ultimately, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. So, I think we'll get back to Sharad. Jyota, the same question to you. But you think it should matter? I feel it should matter because at the end of the day, when I'm meeting my friends from foreign countries who arrive in India, or I'm talking to them abroad, the only thing that they recall is that Adani Group of companies was accused of these things. They don't have a parallel, they don't have an alternative view on the subject.
Well, the thing is, of course, there has to be accountability, because the kind of stuff that was said, and it was deliberately, deliberate attempts were made to destroy this particular group. So, obviously, there has to be accountability, and because you see, the fact of the matter is that whole lot of people may have a problem with, may talk about, the government is with Ambani, the government is with Adani, or big business is bad. The fact of the matter is that these groups, these companies, they create a lot of jobs. They are the ones who are the drivers of they are the economic engines of this country. So, you see, when you are trying to destroy them, you are basically trying to destroy Indian economy. Now, when you are talking about the foreigners, you see, when you are looking at the foreigners, those who are actually in the business, those who are following, wherever Mr. Adani is setting up his ports or wherever he is expanding his business, they are keeping, they have done their homework. It is only those who are uninitiated, who do not have an idea about what is going on. It is only them who will be thinking in terms of, okay, oh, this is what we remember. But frankly, I don't think we really need to take such, ignorant people seriously, because if they were, I mean, if they have to do business, they will do their homework and they will update themselves about what has happened.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't think we need to care.
Okay. Sharat, quickly coming to you, and I'd just like to make a point over here. Like Joyita said, that those who are the stakeholders, those who are the investors, the businesses who want to do business with Indian firms and companies, they would obviously do their homework. They know the situation inside out. But somebody who's living continents away in North America or Europe, and he opens up the CNN news channel, or he watches the BBC, what they heard or saw or read in August is in complete contradiction to what has happened after 1 year in December. So they are not going to make the effort to go through media channels in India or Southeast Asia or in the Indian subcontinent to know what is happening. Their primary source of information is these media channels.
No, Megha, you see, who all matter to Adani Group? I think it is the customers, the investors, the stakeholders, other countries from where it's getting the contracts. I think they are, at the end of the day, it's that group of people or institutions which matters to Adani. What somebody sitting in Europe, in home, not getting, as you rightly said, not getting information about what transpired thereafter in the case, I think it really doesn't matter. And point number 2 is that when Adani Group is functioning the way it is now, it is business as usual in Adani Group. It is bagging more contracts. In this world of information, Megha, it is not very difficult to find out. If I'm really interested in knowing about Adani Group, I'll quickly Google Adani Group and see what's happening with Adani Group. And I'll come to know that SEBI has given clearance, Supreme Court committee has given the clearance, so on and so forth. I think it is, as I said, it's a slap on the face of the people who did. And your question before I lost contact, I beg your pardon, I lost the contact for some time. It's a slap on the face of the people who did it. That is why they are sitting quietly. You slap somebody and he knows I can't do anything. He'll just sit back quietly. He's not going to say anything. He'll just sit back. He said, I'm sorry, there's nothing much I can do. Their sitting quietly is clearly, it vindicates the stand taken by Supreme Court, taken by SEBI, taken by Government of India, taken by stock exchanges, that there is nothing wrong. And a very important point, Megha, I think the whole episode has also brought in a lesson for investors, that when you try and make money, because in the process, a lot of Indian investors, because as we know, Hindenburg, I did a lot of shows on your channel, Hindenburg had a lot of Indian arms, it was dealing through a lot of people here who were helping Hindenburg in this short selling. So the lesson is that when you short sell, you short sell at risk. And when you short sell a company, you may not be short selling on the basis of facts, and those facts may not be correct at all times. So I think it's been a great learning lesson for investors in India. It's been a great learning lesson for the foreign portfolio investors, foreign institutional investors, for the traders of stock markets, that look, when you do something which is not based on facts, you are at risk of the tables turning the other way at any point of time. So, as I said, I mean, it really doesn't matter. Mr. Adani is still not the third richest person in the world, and so and so. It really, I don't think he's bothered as well. He's given that statement many times, Megha.
Yeah, absolutely. Sumit, quickly before I wrap this up, what's the way forward? How should the Indian government, how should the Indian stock market regulators and Adani group of companies and other conglomerates that function out of India look forward to doing businesses with foreign investors?
I think, Meghaji, the first and the most important thing is you are at 4.3 trillion. We are the 4th biggest stock exchange. We have overtaken Hong Kong. Amidst this fiasco and all that, that's a very good sign. Congratulations to all. Point number 2, there was a time FIIs could threaten us, will pull back from India and the stock market will crumble. Now we have less than 20% of the investment is from FIIs. 80% is in-house investment, which is a very good news. Point number 3 is I want Mr. Rahul Gandhi to apologize. Because whatever Hindenburg said and all, that does not matter. When he comes and does a press conference, when he alleges the Prime Minister, when he puts allegations against the Prime Minister and says Prime Minister is hand and gloves with him, is because of people like Mr. Rahul Gandhi, it gets the international coverage. He said, look, from somebody from Nehru Gandhi Parivar and the leader of the opposition of the, India is alleging that Prime Minister is in hand and gloves with the indigenous and they are conning everybody and they are conning you. They are here to siphon your wealth and elope with it possibly. So these are the people who should have apologized. So on unsubstantiated reports, how did Mr. Rahul Gandhi jump the gun? How did Congress Pravakta jump the gun? And then only have been on your debates. We have had these Congress people. They've been always saying, "Nahi, Modi chor hai, Adani chor hai." When they come and apologize. So what is the penalty of such people who are doing this on unsubstantiated reports and bringing name and shame to the country and costing and country has lost billions of dollars?
Yeah.
Who will take responsibility for that?
You're absolutely right. Whether it is about the farmer protest that took place or for that matter, the Adani Hindenburg hit job that happened, the domestic opposition parties, individuals, organizations seem to be taking advantage of the situation to attack the government of India for their own petty vested interests. But again, falling prey to the larger maligning schemes, the conspiracies of these global players who are looking at India, waiting when it's going to fall.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.